I'm just going to go out and say it because I feel some type of way because I don't understand why stuff like this doesn't happen to me.
Take a look. This is what a couple found in their box. A couple finds this, the military assault weapons, right there in their online order from a government surplus store. Now the feds are raiding the couple's storage unit.
When you buy 108 boxes from a surplus store, you know you're not paying for the guns because they were like $100 or $200 per box, and they were planning to resell it on eBay. So they stored a lot of the boxes here at this storage facility where the feds spent several hours this afternoon going through them because they were looking to see just how many guns the government may have accidentally sent to Texas. Take a look at these fully automatic M16s designed strictly for military use, and yet at least a dozen ended up in a suburban Houston garage. A surprise find by a local couple who thought they were buying 100 empty gun storage cases from a military surplus website. But when a friend cracked open a case this weekend, it was far from empty. Not sure what to do, the couple reported the M16s to authorities. Within hours, ATF seized one box and quickly got a search warrant for the storage unit containing 100 more boxes. Experts were shocked.
For these boxes to have M16s cased in them and being shipped to a public destination, not only is it shocking, it's a federal crime.
The ATF confirms it's now investigating along with the FBI, but won't say how many weapons they've recovered.
You know, honestly, I'm glad this didn't happen to me because my inner homosexual would have me taking penitentiary chances over some 1960s machine gun. Hell, given my luck, I'll get a knock on the door 3 months later and my goofy ass answers the door wearing nothing but this t-shirt and my underwear, looking confused, wondering why the entire ATF agency is standing outside of my house. I personally think it's a little messed up that these people have to give back these M16s, but Joe Biden and his administration didn't make the Taliban, a whole terrorist organization, give back the $80 billion worth of military weapons that we had in Afghanistan. Now, when you go to Afghanistan, they're delivering Amazon packages from Apache helicopters. Uber drivers are showing up in Abrams tanks. And all these kids are running around playing soccer at night wearing $40,000 worth of night vision goggles. But when a nice little couple comes up on a few Vietnam-era machine guns, everyone starts acting like the sky is falling. Talking about the military carefully tracks all of their weapons. Clearly they don't. It's 2022 and we're just now finding out about a bunch of machine guns that came out in the 60s, and now we only know about them because they said something about it. So now I want you to imagine all of the other machine guns that may be out there that we don't know about that are actually in the hands of criminals. Hell, you really don't have to imagine that hard. Some of these kids are running around with switches on their Glocks that they paid a few $100s for off the internet. You thought it was funny seeing a grown man carrying a little Louis Vuitton bag that looks like a purse? Huh, little did you know, there's a whole machine gun in there. What a lot of people don't realize is that before 1934, you could easily purchase a firearm with no background check, and you could have it sent straight to your house. But then the government said, you know what? We only want the rich people to have these types of guns. So you know what they did? They came up with something called the $200 tax stamp. That's right, an arbitrary tax placed on a gun simply because the government wanted to make it harder for you to own it. They didn't make it illegal. They just said, we're going to make it so expensive you can't afford it. So we're going to add a $200 tax stamp before you buy the gun. Now I can see some of y'all right now, but $200 really isn't that prohibitive. It's not that much. Well, this was the 1930s. So now scale that for inflation. And based on inflation, those numbers today, that would mean that $200 tax stamp would be $4,420. So you would be paying the equivalent of $4,000 just to buy a firearm that you haven't even paid for yet. The semi-good thing is, though, they didn't scale this $200 tax stamp with inflation for whatever reason. However, if you still want to buy an M16 today, you're still going to have some problems because, like I said before, the government only wanted rich people to own machine guns. So what they did is in the 1980s, mainly 1986, they passed the Firearm Owners Protection Act, which made it illegal for citizens to own a machine gun that was made prior to 1986. And if you know anything about supply and demand, that meant the price of a machine gun made prior to 1986 skyrocketed. So today, If you want, you can technically buy an M16 and you can own it. You can keep it after you go through mountains of paperwork and jump through all these hoops to do it. But guess what? It still's not going to be that easy because, like I said, they only wanted the rich people to have them. So that meant because of the lack of supply and so much demand, the only guns you can get are pre-86 guns, which means an M16 today is probably going to run you about $20,000 to $60,000 just to own it. So thank the gun control laws of this country for not necessarily taking the guns away, just saying only the rich people can own it. You know, we talk a lot about empowerment in this country, except for when it comes to the Second Amendment. However, I can't think of anything more empowering than having the most effective tool to protect you and your family. So help me spread this message by liking and sharing this video with everyone you know. And don't forget to subscribe and leave a comment, because the Second Amendment, when it said militia, it wasn't talking about the government. It was talking about you. Also, if you want to know where to find the I'm the Militia shirt and merchandise, click the I'm the Militia link in the description section of this video. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, make sure you hit that bell symbol.